So, welcome to our Monday Night Live. Uh, welcome to Monday Night Live. Excuse my technical difficulties here. Clicking the wrong buttons. I'm good at that. So, with us tonight, we've got Kelly Bender from the Lazy Otter Charters. If you're new to the channel, on this channel, I share information to help people that travel with challenges, travel better, avoid the pitfalls. And I also share lots of information for their friends and families that travel too. So let me bring Kelly into our show tonight. It's very nice of you to join us. She's joining us from Whittier, Alaska. I had to remember where you're from. So Kelly's with us. Give us a little bit of your background and we'll get started.
Sure. Thanks for having me on the show tonight. I'm so happy to join you from beautiful fall Alaska. We are in Whittier. We go out of Prince William Sound. Spectacular, beautiful, calm, protected waters. My husband and I, Mike, we own Lazy Otter Charters out of Whittier. We do custom sightseeing, guided kayaking, water taxi. But I'm also the president of the Whittier Chamber of Commerce. So happy to chat with you about what we do specifically, but also what else you can do in Whittier.
Okay, well, very nice. I'm glad you're with us. So what we're going to do, we've got Marvin from Michigan just joined us. We'll talk about, and we'll just imagine that I just got off of one of the ships that came in, and at some point during the day or evening, I'm going to go to Anchorage. But right now, fresh off the ship, what are some of the things that I might want to put on my list to see and do in Whittier?
Sure. So the ship comes in overnight. So you're going to wake up at the dock and you're able to get off the ship early. So you can get right off and enjoy a full day in Prince William Sound and Whittier before you have to get a shuttle back into Anchorage. Maybe if you have an evening flight, or if you're going to continue on and enjoy the rest of either South Central or interior Alaska, you can still spend a whole day with us in Prince William Sound. We'll meet you at the cruise ship terminal, but really we're less than 5 minutes, super easy, boardwalks, sidewalks all around town. Lazy Otter Charters, we have 4 boats and 3 of them are landing craft type. So that means the bow ramp will lower down so you can walk right on or roll right on to our vessels. And we have trips anywhere from 4.5 hours to full day adventures in Prince William Sound. Now, I think a lot of times everybody hears about Seward, and I go to Seward for the wildlife and the glaciers, but Whittier has everything Seward has, but a little bit easier to get out to and calmer, more protected seas. We're an hour away and you're at the face of tidewater glaciers. We have spectacular wildlife. Largest population of sea otters is right there in Prince William Sound. Largest collection of tidewater glaciers in North America is right in Prince William Sound. So whatever most people think they can do in Seward, we can do in Whittier, and maybe even a little bit more comfortable. We are 4.5 hour tours. All of our tours include glaciers, wildlife, and a beach landing. So if you wanted to get out and walk around on a wilderness beach, feel like you're the first person that ever stepped foot there, and this is the company to go with.
Okay, well, all of that sounds like a lot of fun. I know you have some pictures and some videos, so let me. I'll put your screen in the stream, and you can start to talk to us about what you got to show.
Sure. I just want to show you our video. It's just a little quick 2-minute video, and it really gives you an idea, feel of our family-owned and operated company, the size of our boats, and kind of what our philosophy is when you travel with Lazy Otter. So I'm going to go ahead and start that video, I think. That's my plan anyhow. Here we go. Lazy Otter Charters.
Looks like we lost the sound on the video.
Lost the sound on the video. Can you hear the video now?
Okay, I'll leave your mic live.
Okay.
And we still don't hear your sound very good. Do you want to narrate a little bit? Or?
Oh, sure. So just talking about that you can kind of dictate your priorities and the things that you want to see and do. We'll have a schedule, but it's not a firm schedule. We kind of know the places where we're going to find the wildlife and the glaciers, but how long we spend at each site is really up to the group on board. We ended up with saying, that there are still really untouched wilderness areas that you can still enjoy in Prince William Sound. And Prince William Sound is part of a wilderness study area set aside by the Forest Service. So miles and miles and miles without seeing other people, other boats. Let's make sure we stop that video so we don't get something else. Hold on, I'm going to stop it. Oh, gotta get a stop it. So sorry about that. I'm gonna yeah, so there's miles without seeing buildings or sometimes other people. It's very protected, and just seeing true wilderness like that is really special. It leaves you feeling a little bit different.
Yeah, the views up there, Alaska is my favorite destination. I have a lot of friends that think the Caribbean is all of that. And I mean, I enjoy going to the Caribbean. It's beautiful. It's warm in the winter, which a lot of the friends I have are from Michigan, Wisconsin, that area. But there is something that's so amazing about Alaska. I'm definitely in love with Alaska.
Right.
So let's talk about, because you offer some things that are a little bit different. For example, that you offer kayaking tours. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do. We offer guided kayaking tours. It's a full day adventure. We can do it two ways. So you can do the full day. So we take a water taxi out to Blackstone Bay. We stop on a beach. Everybody gets out with the kayaks. You get a little kayaking instruction, safety briefing. We'll paddle for about 2 or 3 hours in front of one glacier. Stop for lunch, get out of the boats, back in the boats for another couple hours of paddling. So that one's a full day. But we can also do it boat supported for folks who don't really want to paddle for 5 hours. It's built for novice folks, for people who've maybe never kayaked before, for sure. But it is a full day, takes some stamina. So the half day is perfect, where we'll water taxi out there, get the kayak briefing, safety briefing, paddle for a couple of hours. Listen, we only go as fast as the slowest paddler. And you paddle in front of a big tidewater glacier. And there's another glacier with a big spectacular waterfall. So we'll go by that waterfall. And then the boat picks you up at the lunch spot. And then we'll go around the corner and see the second glacier by the boat. So there's two ways of doing it, depending on, what your level of adventure or our time. Because, of course, if we do it by the boat, it's a little bit shorter. The idea of our trips, we call them customized, because every day you're going to come on board and captain's going to talk to you, and he or she will say, what are your priorities? What are you most interested in? Are we birders? Are we whales? Or you want a little bit of it all? And we have a general route in mind, of course. We know where to find the puffins. There are puffins in Prince William Sound. We know where the best glaciers are. where we're more likely to see sea lions or whales, but how long we spend at each place. If the sea lions are just really ruckus that day and having a lot of fun, maybe we hang out and watch the sea lions. Or if there's a big pinnacle on the glacier that's just about ready to calve, we don't have to be anywhere at a certain time. We have a little more freedom than some of the other really scheduled departures. So that's really nice. The pace of the day is set by the guests.
Okay, no, that's very nice. And so let me ask about, because you mentioned the landing craft type, so you could, in theory, wheel off the beach type areas that you run into and that you visit. What's the surface like? Is it something that, for example, like a mobility scooter with big, fairly big soft tires, would that be able to traverse the dry land, or is that pretty loose stuff and they're not so good?
Sure. There's different places that we land, and I would say that most of the beaches that we go to have big shale-like rocks. And what we have done in the past for those situations is we've taken some like boards that we can use as ramps and at least get off the boat and onto shore for a little bit. But most of the time, there are some beaches that are kind of loose, like sandy. That's just it. Everything's different in Prince William Sound. But for the most part, they're kind of big, fist-size shale rocks.
Okay. So for those that have real mobility challenges, maybe getting off is not the easiest situation, but obviously the view and the things that you get to see would be amazing.
And that's the whole deal. It's customized. If you're a group that don't want the beach walk, well, let's go hang out at the glacier for a little bit longer. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just had one question about the glacier, because I think I'd love to do that. But what happens if you're there in a kayak and the glacier calves?
Well, we always keep a safe distance. Absolutely. We're a quarter of a mile, and kayakers might even be farther because it depends on how much ice is in front of the glacier. Well, you're with a guide, and the guide's always going to tell you when the glacier calves, certainly it puts out a big wake. And just like in a boat, you're going to turn your bow to face the wake, or you're going to get it on your stern. You're never going to take it on the side. You're far enough away to react when a glacier calves. And you're also in a kayak, you're going to be careful that you're not surrounded by icebergs so that you're unable to turn quickly. So we take all those safety precautions. The guides are very professional and safe. They know how to get you in the right spot. So we want you to enjoy an experience when you're surrounded by icebergs, but at the right time in the right place.
Okay. And so are the glaciers in Prince William Sound fairly active for calving?
They are. Our 4.5-hour tour and our 6-hour tour and the guided kayaking all go to Blackstone Bay. Blackstone is only 45 minutes away by water taxi, and there are 2 tidewater glaciers there, and they're very active. And in fact, they're retreating quite rapidly. So we've seen big changes in Blackstone Bay, but they're still tidewater. The glaciers that we go up to in College Fjord, so that's a bit farther run. It's about an hour and a half for us to get up to College Fjord and to Harvard Glacier. Massive, massive glacier. Kind of iconic, like you see with those great big giant faces. And Harvard Glacier is very active. Sometimes it might even, limit how close we can get to the glacier for how much ice there is.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about sightseeing tours, and we've talked about kayaking. What are some of the other things? And one thing that I haven't asked about in Whittier is what's fishing like there?
Yeah, good fishing. So what we mostly fish in Whittier is halibut. Some salmon, king salmon in May, some red salmon for a short period, maybe in June, July, and silver salmons toward the end of the season, August, beginning of September. But really, halibut and rockfish are what we're best known for. To be honest, if you want to have salmon fish, if salmon fishing is big for you, there are better places than Whittier. But we go out quite a ways out, and Lazy Otter doesn't fish, but there's like 6 different operators in Whittier. that head out for halibut fishing, and they go quite a distance. But the beauty of that is it's mostly protected waters, right? We're closer to shore than going out of Seward, where you have to go out into the Gulf of Alaska. And most of the boats that go out of Whittier are 6-passenger, but there are 2 companies that have 12-passenger, a little bit larger vessels that would more be able to accommodate a chair.
Okay, all right. And so let me ask one question about on your boats, because this is one that, especially for the ladies, is always a concern. What are the facilities like for the restrooms on board? If you're in a wheelchair, you have limited mobility. Are they pretty easily accessible? You have to deal with steps or?
So the one thing about all vessels, of course, have that required lip that's right around the door. So those always have to be navigated. And so we always have a ramp to get over those doors. Our vessel, the Voyager, our larger 27-passenger vessel, has a big restroom that you can move around in and get a chair in. Other small 6-passenger, the smaller ones, the restrooms are small and they're marine toilets. So it's more of a like an RV, if you can imagine that, an RV restroom.
Okay. Yeah, and I have dealt with marine toilets, and again, that's one of the things that I ask about. My wife is definitely not a fan of airline toilets.
Right.
That's just like, okay. I don't fold well enough to get in there very easily.
Right.
Okay. So if we're doing things on land in Whittier, what are some of the things that we might want to do while we're there in town?
Mm-hmm. We have a really fun a boardwalk that goes all along the harbor, and that's what you go to these seaside towns for, right? To kind of just look at the harbor. You can even go down onto the harbor and just look at the different types of boats. We do have commercial fishing out of Whittier as well as sports fishing. So all those different types of vessels, all the different kinds of activities, and then just the recreational boats that are in the harbor. It's fun to get down there right about 5, 6 o'clock when the fishermen are coming back and hanging up all their halibut and weighing them and looking at their trophies. So the harbor is that's kind of what we're about. We're a seaside town, charming little harbor. We have we're a pretty small town, and we like it that way. We have real charming little shops and restaurants, and all of our restaurants have their own little niche. Some are little cafes, some are seafood, some are fish and chips, all local seafood. So it's fun just to, and they're all along that boardwalk or easily a sidewalk along. We have an area we call the Triangle. It's actually a circle, but we call it a triangle. And there's lots
Somebody wasn't good at geometry?
Huh?
I said somebody wasn't good at geometry?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm going to the triangle sounds better than I'm going to the circle. Little shops and restaurants. We have some nice trails. We have a historic trail around Whittier that is completely accessible. Whittier was all started during World War II as a military base. And so you can follow the route of this, and there's signs outside of each of the buildings to explain what their original purpose was. And our museum, small town museums, I always think, you're going to run into somebody's little old bonnet and a tea kettle or, kind of dusty smelling. Our museum is excellent. Our curator is extremely passionate about our little town. Most of it's dedicated to World War II, the building of the tunnel. Senator Ted Stevens, who was a longtime Alaska senator, was in the Air Force. And so there's a whole section dedicated to him. But what I enjoy is, Whittier we still have some relics of the military. The buildings there were all built by the military, these big concrete buildings. But there's pictures of what those buildings look like in their heyday and, the commissary and the mess hall. And I love looking at those old pictures. It's fun to imagine before they were kind of abandoned. And then the area down in the Triangle and in the harbor, that was all a sawmill before the earthquake. And there's terrific pictures of before and after the earthquake. So it's it's really an interesting museum. And you could easily spend a day enjoying the waterfront and the museum without going out on a boat. If you've come in from a ship and you just want to have a little land time, you could easily spend a couple of hours enjoying Whittier.
Okay. Well, that sounds really nice. Listen, Kelly, I really appreciate you being on the show. We'll say goodbye to these folks. If you'll hang around for just a minute after, we can chat. Thanks for being here, Marvin. We've got at least one other guest on that didn't say hi, but we appreciate you being here. If you're watching on the replay and you have questions either for me or for Kelly, put them in the comments down below, and I'll make sure.
Thanks so much.